Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Alright, so you want one of the probably the most effective flyer in the Catch Cup? It's probably going to be Skarmory. So the easiest way to get Skarmory is to actually get it from the Go Battle League rewards. If you've been playing Go Battle League, you probably noticed that you're encountering Skarmory. If you see one, and you didn't watch this video yet, and you saved one, good on you. If you caught one and you want to win a lot in the Catch Cup, you want a Skarmory. Skarmory for Go Battle League has been one of the most useful and most powerful flyers in the entire game. You've probably seen it in Ultra League too, but for Great League, this thing has been an absolute monster. You even saw it in the Flying Cup too. So Skarmory has had some long-term use. Now the only issue is that in order for you to use the Skarmory you have now, it has to be caught on November 9th or after. And you can actually, like I said, catch it in the Go Battle League rewards. So Skarmory is very useful for several reasons. One, it's one of the highest defense stat users in Great League, and for the Catch Cup, it's really, really good. With the absence of things like, I would say, like available mons like Alolan Marowak, Fire Spin Charizard, or anything that could possibly light you on fire, or even electric types, it's going to be really difficult to find anything that really, like, takes down Skarmory. Rocks do neutral damage, and it has a ton of resistances. As you see here, it resists Bug, Grass, Poison, Dragon, Fairy, Flying, Ground, Normal, and Psychic, and Steel. It's going to resist a lot of Charmers in this meta, and at the same time, it also, like, it has such great use. It's very strong against things like Altaria, very strong against things like Wigglytuff, and like I mentioned, you're probably not going to see a lot of electric and fire picks in the Catch Cup. So Skarmory is a good, I would say, pretty safe pick for the Catch Cup. You already know you've played this thing a lot, or you've played it, or you've seen it played against you a lot. So this thing is very powerful, and it's no different for the Catch Cup. In the Catch Cup, it's very strong. Now, here's the difficult thing. It's going to take you a little bit of dust. If you do catch from the Go Battle League rewards, it is at number... I believe it's at level 20 when you encounter it. 15 or 20, I believe. No, it's actually level 20. So it's at level 20 when you catch it. So when you do encounter it in the Go Battle League rewards, it doesn't take you a lot of dust. You only have to power it up from level 20 probably up until level 25. So 20 to 25, which isn't a lot. That's not a lot of dust at all. 20 to 25, and along with that is its second move. So it's not super expensive, but you can probably bank that you're going to spend at least 100 grand powering up a Skarmory. And 100k isn't that bad compared to that one guy or that one girl that's going to power up that Azumarill. That takes 200 plus thousand dust if you really want to use it for the Catch Cup. If you really want to try that hard. If you want to spend somewhat... Skarmory isn't really a budget pick. Anything over 100 is like bleh for me. But 100k dust is pretty good for something that can get you a lot of consistent wins in the Catch Cup. Alrighty, so here I have the custom rankings from PvPoke. As you see here, Mythicals aren't allowed, and it's unlikely you're going to catch a lot of legendary picks like Cresselia, unless you really saved that Grassnot Cresselia from research a long time ago, which I heavily doubt you did. If you did, you're a monster. If you're going to power it for the Catch Cup, it's up to you. But anyways, I took out all, like, with Mythicals being gone, like I mentioned in my other videos, there is a different meta. Mythicals actually shift the meta pretty heavily depending on like what's allowed and what's not allowed. As you see here, we have the 2 shield, and I already ran the simulation for the custom rankings. As you see here, lots of powerful picks. You have Scrafty. Scrafty is a pick that you can expect. Scrafty, Wigglytuff. What are all these? Charmers, Dragon Breath users. And you know what resists them? It's something called our good boy Skarmory. Skarmory ranks at number 29 in the Catch Cup. As you see, it's extremely powerful against Charmers. And you know what's one of the best parts about the Skarmory here? You know those Shadow Razor Leafers you hate so much? Guess what? You double resist that and you absolutely destroy Grasshole. If someone happens to use a Charm Grasshole line, guess what? Skarmory will wall that entire line. Pretty dang hard. It's very powerful against it. Now, you do have some key losses, as you see here. I don't foresee a Dugong being used unless you really have a Catch Cup and you're spending those Elite TMs. I'm not worried about it. Same thing with Zweilous. Zweilous is very expensive. Yes, you can get it from Go Bally rewards, and you can power up that Dino you catch, but I wouldn't see that too much either. Drifloom's another. Drifloom, there's a lot of picks that you won't see here. The one you will probably see the most is Scrafty. Scrafty is an incredibly powerful pick in Go Battle League, especially for the Catch Cup, because you happen to... Do you know how many Scrafties you encounter for Go Battle League rewards? A lot. So because you see so many Scrafties from Go Battle League rewards, you can definitely expect to see some Scrafties, or like some Fighters, maybe, or even very likely you might see Charmers in the Catch Cup, and guess what? You have a very strong pick against all of them with Skarmory. As you see, Skarmory is 86 in the lead with 2 shields. That's a very strong rating. Just keep in mind, we'll take a look on the Matrix to see what it loses against, but Skarmory is a really good pick, especially if you're able to match it up against, like I said, Charmers or Shadow Razor Leafers. If you are able to do that, you have a very, very powerful matchup. Now, I don't foresee, like, a lot, like I mentioned, a lot of its weaknesses, like Drift Blim, some other things like Zweilous, unless you really want to spend that Stardust, because they're really expensive. But you know you will have those super tryhards that will power up those Azumarils, that will power up just really obscene things, or the spoofers that will come around everywhere, and they don't really have a problem trying to locate or catch anything because they can go anywhere they want. They can find the best PvP IEs and invest in those if they wanted to. Now we have the 2 shield loaded here. So the 2 shield, the 1 shield, not the 2 shield, the 1 shield. So in the 1 shield, as you see here, Skarmory ranks at number 20. Very strong in 2 positions, the 2s and the 1s. As you see here, very powerful against those Razor Leafers and those Grass users, like I said. Even against Altaria and Fighters. So it's very, very strong, very powerful. As you see the weaknesses here, Primeape, I don't really foresee a lot of Mankeys running around, or finding a lot of Mankeys. And I believe this, we'll see during the Matrix and see if this is like a bait-dependent matchup or not. I don't foresee a lot of AWAC swing running around either. Snowy Castworms, unless it's snowing near you, I don't foresee a lot of Snowy Castworms, either Umbreon or Machamp. So, well, Machamp, you could possibly see Machamp, but I think the Machamp matchup is really bait-dependent. If you can call, it may be. We'll take a look at the Matrix. So as you see in the 1 shield, still very powerful. Skarmory is incredibly strong in 2 shields. Now, in the closer, let's see if Skarmory is very powerful. In the top 20 isn't bad, considering the top 10 or more is comprised of basically Charmers, Fighters, a lot of... You have G-Fisk in there, of course. G-Fisk is probably Skarmory's worst nightmare. Skarmory, that's probably, like I said, the one pick that Skarmory doesn't want to see. If your opponent does happen to have a G-Fisk, it's going to suck a lot. Other than that, Skarmory is very good, as you see, against those Fighters, against those Razor Leaf users, and against Charmers. So Skarmory is definitely an incredibly powerful pick. In the closer, Skarmory ranks at number 18. As you see, top 20 in all picks. A very solid pick for this cup. Remember I mentioned G-Fisk can be a problem, so if you do see a G-Fisk, run. So this does have some things like if you see Regice, Big Charizard X, you're probably not going to see these 3, Regice, Charizard, Castform. Probably not even Quagsire. Quagsire is kind of hard to find, even if you do find a Wooper. Having Candy and everything is difficult, so I don't really see Quagsire giving you a problem. The one thing I can see coming around is probably Galarian Stunfisk. That's probably Skarmory's worst nightmare in the Catch Cup, is very likely G-Fisk. Because G-Fisk walls you, it outpaces you, and it's stupid powerful against you. You can still beat G-Fisk as long as you land the burb, and if you're up shield, you can still beat G-Fisk. However, Skarmory is like I said, Skarmory across the board, across all 3 picks, in the lead, the switch, and the closer is very powerful in the Catch Cup, just like it is for regular Go Battle League. Great league. Alright, here's one of my favorite parts. It's the Matrix. As you see, I have the Catch Cup men on the right. Top 40 that I drew from that custom list, and I just plugged them in here. And then you have Skarmory on the left. Just to be fancy, I put Flash Cannon in here too if you really want to look at it, just so that we analyze both the Burb and the Flash Cannon. Now, if we run the sim in the 2 shields, here's what you get in the lead. Now, Skarmory is very strong against fighters. However, I believe this is bait dependent. I think if you shield, so Scrafty is very strong just because it has Pup. However, the thing about Scrafty, I think if you shield, oh wait, hold on. No, Scrafty just wins straight Pup. So I would just be, yeah, Scrafty actually wins straight Pup. So just be careful against Scrafty. You do beat it in other scenarios, but you don't beat it in the 2 shield. Galarian Stunfisk is, like I said, your worst nightmare. This thing does rock your world, even if you're rocking Flash Cannon. Alolan Marowak, you do well against Altaria. You beat Primeape. Zweilous wrecks your soul, so if someone is actually crazy enough to build a Zweilous for the Catch Cup, be very careful because you lose the 2 shield as well. So, you lose against Zweilous. I wouldn't worry about Swampert Shadow so much unless your opponent's willing to use Elite TM. If you do see it, it's going to suck because Swampert does beat you. However, like I said, it's not likely you'll see that. You beat Wigglytuff, you beat the Charmers, you beat Dragon Breath users, you even beat Machamp. With Machamp, you absolutely destroy it with these Air Slashes. As you see here, you can Air Slash, you literally just Air Slash down. You Sky Attack to Bra Shield, and then you shield it, and you can, I think you can. I don't think you can take a Cross Chop, I wouldn't try it, but you can come out of this matchup with a ton of energy to force your opponent slash shield. So you beat Machamp, you also beat Abomasnow, you beat Wigglytuff, you beat Dragonite, you beat Sirfetch'd. So you beat fighters, you beat Charmers pretty handily. Now when you get the mirror, it's going to suck. So if you see the Skarmory mirror, whoever wins CMP basically wins the match if you're facing Skarmory. So if this is a very CMP dependent matchup, whoever has stats, etc. Now, whatever Skarmory you face is likely to have bad IV. So depending on which Skarmory is more perfect? No, literally, which Skarmory is more perfect? Because whichever one has the highest stat product is going to win CMP. You lose against Vigoroth. I don't foresee a lot of Vigoroth. You might see Bastiodon. Don't quote me there. If you can find a Shieldon and then power up, if you're willing to spend all that dust for Bastiodon, go for you. You already know what to do. If you see it versus your Skarmory, run. That's it. You lose again. You win against Whimsicott. You win against Tropius as well. You lose against Snowy Castform. I don't foresee a lot of people running Snowy Castform unless there's like a blizzard. Not only that, Snowy Castform is actually really expensive to power up as well. So I don't see a lot of Snowy Castform. I don't foresee it anyways. Don't foresee a lot of Magnezones. You might see Obstagoons. If you do see Obstagoons, be very careful because it's very strong, especially if it gets the boost. As you see here, it can go straight Night Slash and it can still defeat you. So just be really careful about that. Like I said, a lot of matchups you lose in the 2s, you actually win in a 1 shield. So you can actually just take your opponent, you can pivot, take it to the 1s, and you know you win the 1. So you can do it you can do a strategy like that. A good part is you also beat Azumarill. If you face those individuals crazy enough to use an Azumarill, guess what? You do win as long as you do win. You win the 2s and you win the 0s, and you don't win the 1s. But like you do win the 2 shield against Azu, which is really good. So if you get an Azu switch into you know your Skarmory does pretty well against it, especially if it doesn't have Ice Beam or Hydro Pump, or if it's an Ice Beam Hydro Pump. If it doesn't have Ice Beam, then you'll have better play because you resist that Play Rough, and Play Rough takes more energy. Like I mentioned, one of the best parts about Skarmory, you beat the Razor Leafers from Hell. As you see here, you beat Wishcash, you beat Ferrothorn, and you beat Shadow Victory Bell. Someone's crazy enough, or someone does have a Shadow Victory Bell running around. Those things are very powerful in the Catch Cup meta, especially in a meta where a lot of the Grass Frenzy Plan users aren't very viable, or you just don't see them. So it's very dangerous, very powerful. However, as you see here, Skarmory is powerful in its own right, and it defeats it very handily. Very strong in the 2 shield against a lot of matchups. Be very wary, though, because you do lose against some fighters like Scrafty, Medicham, and also you can lose against things like Vigoroth, Bastiodon. Like I said, if someone's crazy enough to use a Bastiodon, run. You're going to get walled pretty hard. Now, like I mentioned, in a lot of 2 shield matchups, you do wins in the 1s. In the 1 shield, you flip the Scrafty matchup. Along with that, you also flip the Zweilous matchup. Now, in the 1s, Machamp does beat you, so be very careful when you face Machamp. Machamp does win in the 1s because it's able to land this Rock Slide if it gets your Cross Chop. I think if you go straight Cross Chop, you can win. I don't believe so. Hold on. So if it goes straight Cross Chop here, there's a simultaneous knockout. So this is an IV. So if they go straight Cross Chop, it's a IV dependent matchup. So just be really careful against Machamp. Again, you don't really have to worry too much about Swampert because I don't foresee a lot of Swamperts running around because it does require an elite TM. You beat Abomasnow, you beat Wiggly, you still beat the Charmers, you still beat the Fighters, you still beat Dragon Breath users very handily. Again, Skarmory, if you get the mirror, very IV dependent. And not a lot of picks really do take you on. You can probably lose, you'll lose to Umbreon. Umbreon just straight foul plays you to death, as you see here. But it's a very close match, so just be careful against Umbreon. I can foresee people using Umbreon. You don't, if you don't, you can just go straight foul play and use it. So Umbreon might be a good pick as well. Azumarill, this is where you'll lose against Azumarill, and you beat Azu in the 2s, but you lose in the 1s, so just keep that in mind. Be careful. You beat Dragonite, you beat Mandibuzz, you beat Wishcash, you still beat the plants. The plants die to the mighty Skarmory. So, like I said, there are some matchups in the 2s you win, but you do lose them in the 2s, but you flip them in the 1s. Like Scrafty, you flip Scrafty, you also flip things. Flip Scrafty, I believe you flip Obstagoon. Yes, you flip Obstagoon as well. So, like I mentioned, you do flip matchups in the 1s or the 2s. And the 2s, depending on which matchup you're in. In the no shield, things get really interesting because you could burb a lot of things to death. Of course, be very careful whoever is carrying G Stunfisk. G Stunfisk is very strong against you. You're not going to do very well against it. You beat Scrafty pretty convincingly now because Sky Attack will KO. You also beat Altaria, Primeape, Zweilous. You beat a lot of things in a closer. As you see here, Skarmory is an incredibly powerful closer. Not a lot of things beat it. I don't foresee a lot of Magnezones running around in Great Leagues, so you don't have to worry about that too much. Also Bastiodons, because Bastiodon's expensive. Really expensive, actually. But you look at how much of the meta you beat. In a closer, you beat so much in the meta because either 1, you're able to Sky Attack to death, or 2, the burb KOs. As you see here, when you go to the Swampert matchup, you even beat Swampert. While Swampert would normally destroy you, all it takes is 1 burb to send this thing to the next to the next transfer box, or whichever you want to call the graveyard equivalent of Pokemon Go. 1 Brave Bird is enough to yeet you to the next gate sent to Giratina's Underworld for Swampert. As you see, Skarmory is really powerful in a lot of scenarios. Beats Charmers, beats the Razor Leaf users. You do need to know some matchups because you do lose against Scrafty in the 2s. You also lose against Machamp in the 2s in some scenarios. But as long as you know those matchups and you have a little bit of practice, you should be okay playing Skarmory in the Catch Cup. Especially up shields. Up shields, Skarmory goes to town. As you see, with just 1 shield advantage, you still lose against Alola, Marowak, and Stunfisk. However, you beat pretty much the rest of the meta. Unless something that walls you like Bastiodon or Magnezone. Just because Magnezone... The reason why Magnezone does beat you is because it double resists you. It's electric and it's also steel, so it double resists you. It's pretty much like a G Stunfisk for the most part. Or rather a Bastiodon, but just not as impressive or annoying as Bastiodon. As you see here, very powerful, wins a majority of matchups. I don't really see Shadow Skarmory being used a lot, unless you really do catch a good Shadow Skarmory, then you decide to power it up, but then again, you don't have Frustration. You'll have Frustration because you can't team it away right now, so up to you. But up a shield, very powerful. Up 2 shields, Skarmory goes to town and beats everything except what hardwalls it, which is Bastiodon and Magnezone. You beat everything but your hardwalls, which is Magnezone and Bastiodon. I don't foresee a lot of Magnezones or Bastiodons running around, so Skarmory is very safe in this area. Now, up shield advantage in the 2-to-1s. If you manage to give Skarmory shields, look what happens. You beat a lot of picks still, only losing to what you get walled against. So it's like the 0-2 scenario. The only thing is you also lose against G-Fisk. So very, very strong matchups across the board with Skarmory. Unless it walls you, like I said, Magnezone, Galarian Stunfisk, or Bastiodon. If it walls you, you're going to die. Otherwise, you're going to do a lot of damage with shield advantage. So what do I give Skarmory? I give Skarmory an 8 out of 10. It's a very good mon. Readily available, as long as you're playing GBL, you're very likely to encounter one for your rewards. And it's really good for the Go Battle League meta. Its matchups are so good that, like, most of them aren't going to be IV dependent. So, like, you can pretty much depend on Skarmory for a lot of things. Like, against the grass matchups, against the Charmers. Just remember, you do lose against fighters. You do lose against some... Well, not really you lose against fighters, but you lose against them in some scenarios. Mainly the 2 shield. If you do it in the 1 shield, the 0s, or if you give it shield advantage, it's very strong. And because of the nature of this meta where everything's just really difficult to obtain unless you are really want to try hard, Skarmory is a pretty safe pick in this meta. Because of that, I give it an 8 out of 10. Now, the only reason I don't give it a 10 out of 10 is because Skarmory isn't completely safe. If they do have a G-Fisk, which there's one possibility to actually obtain a G-Fisk in this meta. Actually, multiple ways. So, if someone saved it from research, or if they got it from hatch, and that's eligible, then you're kind of in trouble, because G-Fisk is going to run rampant in this meta, unless they have Azu. So, for availability, and for the fact that it only costs about you 100k, I give it an 8 out of 10. But like I said, I can't give it a 10 out of 10 because it's not exactly the most budget-friendly thing in the world. You probably have a better one built already. And to power one up just for Catch Cup is, it'll give you a lot of bang for your buck. But remember, other people might have that idea and power up Skarmorys of their own. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. 8 out of 10 is still a really good rating. Skarmory has very strong matchups across the board in multiple shield scenarios, especially with shield advantage. But there's nothing that really like dominates Skarmory to the point of where it's going to be really bad unless you have, like I said, Magnezone and Bastiodon, 2 picks which I don't foresee being very popular in this meta. However, just in the very case that those things do, or you have someone crazy enough to power it up, I can't give Skarmory a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 because Skarmory, it's not like a Bronzor where it's absolutely oppressive in the meta. But it's good enough to get you for a little over 100k. It's good enough to get you a decent amount of W's for the Catch Cup. Please like and subscribe if you guys this video. And I will see you guys on the next one.